Welcome to the podcast. I'm Rachel Hardy, and this is Emergent Resilience, Paths to Healing and Creative Power, helping you find your inner guidance, clarity, and resourcefulness to fully live in your power and activate the medicine of your own healing. So we're talking today about Venus retrograde, which is coming up on July 22nd all the way through September 3rd, 2023, and it's happening in the very passionate and fiery sign of Leo. Let's talk first real quick about what retrogrades are and why they're so important and valuable on a conscious path. Retrogrades are not bad by any means. You may have heard of this idea of retrogrades about being when everything goes wrong. No, not the whole picture. Retrogrades are when the energy represented by a particular planet goes inward. It goes on a different journey than its usual forward motion. And of course, a retrograding planet appears to our eye to be moving backwards. Of course, it's not actually moving backwards, but it represents an inward journey of the energy of that planet. Now, Venus represents our connection to our heart center and to giving and receiving. So giving and receiving love is represented here, as well as money. Venus also rules money because on a very practical level, that's how we give and receive. And so the first thing I want to invite is that to know how much your receiving channels are open, you can simply look at what you are currently allowing in. Are you allowing in, and how much are you allowing in, the love, the goodness, the beautiful richness, the wealth, the abundance that you're here to create? And so often we stop ourselves, and of course this is mostly unconscious. We stop ourselves from really allowing what we desire and what we desire to create and attract and magnetize. We halt things from really allowing the full, beautiful depths of that in. I'm going to give you 4 key reasons why we may not allow in what we truly desire. And I'm going to invite you, as we chat about each, to feel into whether one or more of these pings you, and notice what you feel in your body as you hear and feel into your truth. Because this right here is going to give you some information about what you're going to be working with in this upcoming retrograde, which is about healing and clearing these kinds of things. All right, so the first reason we may not allow in what we truly desire has to do with beliefs and mindset patterns. Let's talk about money to look at this really specifically. It's a really good way to look at an example of what might be happening. So we may have beliefs about money that might not even be our own, by the way, because of course these beliefs get passed down in pretty obvious ways. We learn what's okay to have, and beliefs about people who have money or don't have money. All of that is passed down, and we get to choose. We get to choose. Is this belief about money and abundance one that I want to continue to carry? For example, maybe you believe that money comes but then always leaves, or that you just can't trust it. Or maybe that it's going to be really, really hard to earn money and you have to sacrifice your health and inner well-being. And you don't want to do that. And you think you have to choose one or the other. Either you are successful financially or you are at peace. Maybe you think it's an either or. All these are just examples of beliefs and mindset patterns that might not even be yours, but you might have been carrying them. And I'd invite you to notice and journal on, if you're drawn to, what beliefs you're currently holding about money and abundance. And again, one really good way to do this is to look at what's actually happening in your life and notice, what would someone need to believe in order to create this this can be a quick way to get beneath the surface to what's going on. What's going on? Number 2, let's talk about feelings, specifically feelings of not deserving more. We may have had experiences early in life, especially, that imprinted us, that we created a reality around somehow us not being enough, not being good enough. And by the way, if there's a persistent theme in your life of not enough, it can be really helpful to look at feelings and beliefs under the surface about not being enough, not being good enough. And of course, these young or childhood traumas in particular really create the map of reality that we know. So I'm going to invite you to notice as you check in, if there are feelings of not deserving, to notice where you might be feeling that, where in your body you might hold or feel this energy. Is there a sensation to it? Is there a color, an image? Notice whatever you notice. Notice any sensations and notice those feelings, because this is the key. When we can be with this energy and emotion and allow it to be felt, we allow it to move. So take a moment with this, and you may want to spend some more time, pause and spend some time here, or maybe come back to this later and really allow whatever energy may be bubbling up to move, to shift, to be present and be felt, because that's how it can be released and healed. It's got to be felt, and it's got to be safely felt. Number 3, beliefs about what is even possible. And of course, this is tied together with the broader picture of beliefs and mindset patterns. But I want to just mention that if you saw a certain reality growing up, or if you've experienced hardship around money, your brain may not even know or get that an entirely different reality is possible. I mean, the facts are that thanks to the internet and the ways we are so interconnected now, there are ways of making income that are an entirely different reality than what we've known for generations. And again, those beliefs can get pretty hardwired in. So I'm going to invite you as a first step to just pause and notice if there's beliefs about what is even possible, and just notice. Number 4, I'm going to ask you to notice that a major block to receiving can be trauma. Obviously, these all overlap. Obviously, the earlier ones we've talked about can involve trauma. But it's important to look at trauma in a category of its own, and here's why. Because when our systems are impacted by trauma of any kind, what happens in trauma is that our energy bodies, not to mention our literal physical bodies, learn to contract. And it doesn't feel safe to expand. And this is so important to understand, because sometimes something really good can come in, or maybe things finally feel safe or like they've turned around, or maybe the relationship or the business success finally happens. And interestingly, our nervous systems actually freak out because they're not used to it. And here's the key. Even though it's good energy, this big influx of energy is more than your nervous system is used to managing. And that bigger surge of energy feels threatening to a nervous system that has learned to manage in a fixated way. Now, this takes time and careful work and repatterning to shift, but I want to invite you today to notice where your nervous system might have learned, oh, this amount is what's safe to have. And just sense into that for a moment. Just see if you can feel or sense into if there's a way that your nervous system, or if there's evidence in your life that your nervous system may have learned this much is safe, and it might be actually rejecting allowing in more. Sometimes this looks like you get the influx of money, and then the thing happens that the bill comes in for like the exact same amount that you just made. Or maybe every time you start a relationship, it goes down the same path and goes south. You get the idea. If there's some kind of a pattern where something good comes and then why does it always have to go away? If that's happening repeatedly, it may be helpful to look under the hood at what's happening in your nervous system. And if there's some old wiring there that's not allowing more in. So I'm going to invite you as we wrap up to feel into, first of all, what resonates and what might be pinging you here. Notice that we're going into about 6 weeks of Venus going deep into her underground journey, moving through that passionate, fiery heart center. And this is so, so valuable to understand because it's during this time that whatever blocks have been there under the surface, keeping you small, holding you back, keeping you unconsciously from connecting to that heart-centered creation, your power to attract and call in all that you are. Whatever blocks have been there under the surface, those can come to light now. Here's another key date to be aware of. Everything that's been coming up for you since June 19th. Okay, so we're looking at the space right now between June 19th up till July 22nd. July 22nd is when Venus actually turns around, but June 19th through July 22nd, we're in Venus's shadow period. It's the territory that she is going to revisit when she turns around. What does this mean? Whatever situations, relationships, challenges have emerged since June 19th till about now and this next week, whatever challenges have emerged that have to do with love, money, giving or receiving, this is like a prequel for you. This is really juicy, valuable information of what's to come, what is going to be revisited deeper when Venus goes retrograde. And this might be literal, like a certain relationship or situation that might come back into your life to be healed, revisited, cleared. Past relationships very frequently show up during Venus retrograde periods. Or it may simply be about the energy for you underneath that situation. It may not be about the person. It's about what the person activated in you. And that energy may be asking for a deeper dive within you to be healed. So again, having the overview of the whole process can be so helpful because the challenge with this kind of deep healing work that we're talking about is that it can be easy to get like sucked into it and get a little lost in the drama. And that's what we do as very cute humans. We get kind of sucked into our own drama, right? And we kind of forget everything we know and sort of get lost in the story in not a helpful way. So what we want to do is stay conscious, connected, and realize it can be helpful to see the big picture, not get lost in it, but understand, all right, I'm healing and clearing some deep stuff here. And these wounded places are coming to the surface in order to be healed. And this is happening in order for me to allow me to be the full receiver of all I'm here to receive and be. So, retrogrades, enormously valuable for this reason. I'll invite you to notice what's up for you, do some journaling or processing, however you choose, of the themes that have been coming up for you over about the past month. These are clues of what's going to be healed when Venus turns around from July 22nd through September 3rd. And even when these healing portals are challenging and can be uncomfortable, it is so, so valuable to have this energy cleared because the energy coming up now and over the upcoming weeks is exactly what needs to be cleared for you to receive, manifest, attract, call in the full, rich, beautiful, love-filled life that you're here for. How amazing is that? So embrace the journey. If you want to go deeper with any and all of this, I'm going to drop a couple different links in the comments for you. The first is my 3-part video training on dissolving upper limits. This is especially if the nervous system piece is speaking to you. Well, both of them are actually. But this 3-part video training goes super deep into understanding the how and the why our nervous systems block us from receiving more and the steps to shift it. So, video training on dissolving upper limits. I'm also going to drop a link for my Venus retrograde pop-up group, which I'm running, which is going to be a space where I will be walking you step by step through this Venus retrograde transit. We're going to be talking about every twist and turn that she makes so that you can receive the most insight and clarity and information that you need to work with whatever material is coming up for you that's ready to be released over the next 6 weeks. We'll also be doing lots of somatic practices and working with our nervous systems in this space as well. So I will drop the links for both of those, sending you all of my love. Happy Venus retrograde, and thanks for listening. Take great care.